U.S. proposal on Brazil's critical minerals raises sovereignty alarms. The U.S. government has presented Brazil with a critical minerals proposal sparking sovereignty concerns within President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's administration. Internal assessments suggest the terms favor foreign investors, specifically granting U.S. companies priority in exploring strategic assets. A controversial clause establishes preferential access, allowing foreign capital the first opportunity to invest in Brazilian mineral projects. Unlike a similar U.S.-Australia pact requiring a $1 billion investment and ministerial oversight, this version lacks financial commitments and transparency mechanisms. As global demand for lithium, cobalt, and rare earth elements surges for green energy and defense, Brazil faces a dilemma. The negotiation highlights the struggle to attract investment while preserving economic autonomy amid a global race for essential high-tech resources. Next news: U.S. air traffic control recruits gamers to solve critical staffing shortage. The Federal Aviation Administration has launched an innovative recruitment drive targeting gamers to fill thousands of air traffic controller vacancies. A new advertisement, featuring the Xbox logo and Fortnite, highlights that the fast-paced skills developed through gaming, such as hand-eye coordination and complex decision-making, are essential for aviation safety. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy noted that this campaign aims to reach a younger demographic possessing the hard skills required for the profession. With 11,000 active controllers, the FAA remains significantly understaffed due to high attrition and rigorous training requirements. However, the career offers lucrative rewards, with salaries potentially reaching $155,000 after 3 years. Union leaders support this outreach provided safety standards remain high, joining other federal agencies in recognizing gaming expertise as a professional asset. Next news: Russian strikes claim lives in Ukraine ahead of Orthodox Easter ceasefire. Russian drone strikes killed at least 2 people and wounded 2 others in Odessa overnight, striking residential buildings and a kindergarten just hours before a scheduled ceasefire. The Ukrainian Air Force reported intercepting 133 of 160 drones launched during the assault. The 32-hour truce, declared by President Vladimir Putin for the Orthodox Easter weekend, was set to begin Saturday afternoon. While President Volodymyr Zelensky pledged to honor the pause as a potential step toward peace, he warned that any violations would meet a strict military response. Amid the tensions, a significant humanitarian exchange occurred, as both nations returned 175 service members each, with Ukraine also recovering 7 civilians. This swap remains a rare success in stalled negotiations. Separately, Russia confirmed the return of 7 residents captured during Ukraine's 2024 incursion into the Kursk region. Despite the humanitarian gesture of the ceasefire, the Kremlin maintains its focus on long-standing demands, leaving a comprehensive settlement elusive as the invasion enters its 5th year. The peace remains fragile, with both sides' history of mutual accusations regarding previous truce violations. Next news: diplomatic friction erupts between South Korea and Israel over Gaza Post. A diplomatic feud has intensified between South Korea and Israel, following a social media post by President Lee Jae-myung. On Friday, April 10th, Lee shared footage allegedly showing an Israeli soldier mistreating a deceased individual. Israel's foreign ministry denounced the post, claiming the video was an old incident from 2024 and accusing Lee of citing an account notorious for spreading disinformation. While South Korea's foreign minister attempted to frame the post as a general call for human rights, President Lee doubled down, criticizing Israel for failing to reflect on global condemnation of its actions. This sharp exchange signals a significant shift for Seoul, a traditional U.S. ally, highlighting growing international rifts amid regional instability and economic pressures. Next news: Afghanistan shooting death toll rises to 11 following picnic attack. The death toll from a brutal shooting in western Afghanistan's Herat province has risen to 11, according to a Saturday statement from local authorities. Unidentified gunmen on motorcycles targeted civilians gathered for a picnic near the Syed Muhammad Agha Shia Shrine on Friday. In addition to the fatalities, 8 others were wounded, with 2 victims reported in critical condition. Bloodstains and bullet-riddled walls marked the scene where families typically congregate among the trees for leisure. While 1 suspect has been arrested, no group has yet claimed responsibility for the assault. Residents described receiving desperate calls for help from victims as the shooting unfolded. Although Taliban authorities have vowed to restore national security since returning to power in 2021, sporadic deadly attacks continue to plague the country. This latest incident highlights the ongoing security challenges in Afghanistan as officials struggle to prevent violence against. Next news: Gardaí break blockade at Whitegate refinery as fuel crisis grips Ireland. Irish police launched an operation Saturday to clear protesters blockading the Whitegate oil refinery, the nation's only such facility, following demonstrations over surging fuel prices. Using heavy equipment to move tractors and trucks, Authorities intervened after Finance Minister Simon Harris described the situation as a, quote, very dangerous economic moment. The protests, sparked by a 20% rise in diesel costs following the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran, have left hundreds of petrol stations empty and threatened emergency services. Prime Minister Michael Martin warned that the blockade risked forcing oil deliveries away from the country. While police successfully escorted tankers into the refinery, the government remains on high alert as the economic fallout from the Middle Eastern conflict continues to strain national supply chains. Next news: India to supply 1.2 million tons of petroleum to Mauritius amid regional turmoil. India has pledged to supply 1.2 million tons of petroleum products annually to Mauritius to bolster energy security amid supply chain disruptions caused by the West Asia conflict. Mauritius Foreign Minister Dhananjay Ramphul confirmed the finalized Memorandum of Understanding, which currently awaits cabinet approval. The island nation, which imports 80% of its food, has faced significant economic pressure due to rising global prices and maritime instability. During meetings with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, both nations emphasized regional stability and freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean. Beyond energy, the partnership includes medical cooperation, highlighted by the inauguration of a new renal transplant unit. India also reaffirmed its steadfast support for Mauritius regarding the Chagos Archipelago's sovereignty dispute. Next news: Paralympian Siobhan Fitzpatrick champions inclusive PE reform after school exclusion. Paralympian Siobhan Fitzpatrick has revealed that despite being a world-class athlete at 15, she was barred from taking GCSE PE because the curriculum could not accommodate her disability. Fitzpatrick, who won silver at the 2018 World Championships and competed in Tokyo, was unable to pursue the qualification as she could not perform the 4 required sports. While the curriculum has since been updated to include accessible activities like table cricket, Fitzpatrick warns that many disabled children still face a constant battle for support in mainstream settings. Now 28, the wheelchair basketball star delivers inclusive PE sessions across the UK. The government has pledged £300,000 annually for the Inclusion 2028 program, but Fitzpatrick emphasizes that cultural change is as vital as funding. Next news: Artemis II astronauts return following historic lunar mission. Humanity's first crewed voyage to the moon in over 50 years concluded Friday with a successful Pacific splashdown of NASA's Orion capsule, Integrity. The diverse crew, Commander Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Canada's Jeremy Hansen, set a new distance record for human spaceflight, reaching 252,756 miles from Earth. During the 10-day mission, the astronauts documented the lunar far side and witnessed a total solar eclipse from space. Following a blistering Mach 33 re-entry that tested the capsule's heat shield, the crew was recovered by the USS John P. Murtha off the San Diego coast. This mission serves as a critical test for NASA's goal of establishing a sustainable lunar base. While the flight encountered minor technical hurdles with propellant valves and waste systems, officials declared the hardware a success. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman praised the crew as ambassadors for humanity, noting that the mission paves the way for a crewed moon landing with Artemis IV in 2028, by including the first woman, the first black astronaut, and the first non-US citizen on a lunar mission. Artemis II marks a new, inclusive chapter in deep space exploration. Next news: uncertainty surrounds Mojtaba Khamenei's health as Iran enters peace talks. Reports indicate that Mojtaba Khamenei, Iran's new supreme leader, is recovering from severe and disfiguring injuries sustained in a U.S.-Israeli airstrike on February 28, 2026. The strike, which killed his father, Ali Khamenei, reportedly left the younger Khamenei with extensive facial damage and significant leg injuries. Despite these wounds, sources close to his inner circle claim he remains mentally sharp and is actively directing state affairs, including military strategy and sensitive negotiations, via audio conferencing. Iranian authorities have yet to issue an official health update, and his absence from public view has fueled global speculation regarding his ability to rule. The news of his condition coincides with high-stakes diplomatic efforts in Islamabad, where a 71-member Iranian delegation led by Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi arrived on Saturday, April 11th. These negotiations, aimed at ending the 6-week-old conflict, involve U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and senior envoys. While Iran navigates this perilous leadership transition, the world is closely watching the Islamabad summit. The success of a potential peace deal may hinge on the stability of Mojtaba Khamenei's fledgling administration, which remains largely obscured from the public eye since his appointment on March 8.